It's launch day. Dad has been very busy anti-fouling this week to get it ready for launch. It's looking good. So yes, wet the bottom and take her for a first spin under our ownership. I cannot wait, and the weather's even turned up for us. Right, should we have a look around? Boarding ladder up onto the aft deck here. This is actually synthetic teak. It's S-Tech and it's in biscuit, so it tries to sort of look like real teak, but it's synthetic. Should be easy to maintain supposedly, but it goes well and it certainly matches the colour scheme nicely. There's storage underneath here. You can see these catches here, storage underneath both sides, which is big enough to swallow the boat's fenders. Here you've got the connector for the steaming light, which stows down there, the flagpole. We've also got a shower on here. It's not heated, but you have got a freshwater shower to either wash off yourself or the boat. You've got fuel fillers on both sides, so it doesn't matter which side you pull up alongside the fuel pontoon, and we've got the water filler here for fresh water. This seating area here, these actually flap backwards to sort of close off this area, so you get a bit of a boarding gate on both sides, and you also have infill cushions that fill in here so that people can sit right up to the edge of the cockpit. We've stowed them underneath this seat for the moment, but when we use it in the summer we'll put them in just to make it a bit more comfortable. And this seating area is really clever because this whole thing flips forward to create a sun pad in about 30 seconds, and you get two people on there really comfortably, especially when you've got the infill cushions in here. But this is a really nice comfortable position for passengers to travel in. Nice supportive bench. It's got a bit of protection from the cockpit, not quite as much protection, it must be said, as these fantastic helm seats. As you can see, they've got shock absorption. I mean, it's got a 24-degree aluminium hull, so that really should deal with the worst of it, but if it's really bouncing around, these should take the edge off really nicely. And as you can see, they're really good figure hugging supportive seats which bolster, but if you really want the protection from the windscreens, you can sit right into them and get really snug, and it's a really lovely driving position. You're sitting in a really good, comfortable, supportive position. A bit of storage down both sides just to chuck loose items in. We've got the covers for the Fusion and the engine instruments in there at the moment, and this is where your battery isolators are. Really easy to get to. See they're labelled, one for the service battery, which one runs the onboard equipment, then obviously the engine battery, which starts the engine. But a lot of the time on boats this size, they'd be tucked away by the battery, which is buried under a couple of covers under here, so it's nice just to have those right there. And these are a couple of things the previous owner fitted, just some cup holders dotted around, so you've got those when you're sitting around having a drink. It's a Scandinavian boat. It's really sensibly built, so you've got handholds all over the place. Nice to have that around the inside of the windscreen, so you've always got somewhere to grab onto when you're moving around the boat. Again, more cup holders here. This is to hold a phone. A little bit more storage down this side. As I said, this is mounting points for the flagpole and the steaming light when they're not being used. Then we have a little bit more storage here, a couple of cup holders, Fusion stereo system. So this can connect via Bluetooth, but there's also a tray in here, so you can actually put your phone in there, connect it, so it's safe and dry, connected to the Fusion, and it's not going to get wet. Bit of storage up here. It's got a drain in it, so if it gets wet, it's just going to drain down into the bilges. Steering wheel here. Throttle nice and close, and you see how it's got this little ledge here, so your elbow perfectly sits on there and your hand can rest on there. Should make it a really good, comfortable driving experience. We've got Menta Marine auto trim tabs here, so you just hit auto and they will automatically adjust. I've got a little compass here. This is the vessel view, so this is where you get all your engine information. We'll have a proper look at that when the boat's running. This is all the switches for lighting, wipers, horn, bilge pump. Very faintly inscribed above the switch. I think the previous owner had these made just so he could really quickly refer to them and see them, but that's all nice and neat. And actually the chart plotter folds down here to keep it protected. The button to operate that is down here, but you need the battery on. I do that with what the battery's on at the moment, so that pops up, so it's nice and protected when it's not being used. And again, we'll have a look at that functions on that later on. And then we've got this Icon VHF built in down here. Moving forward, you have the walk-through windscreen, so that just closes off, there's catches there and opens up like so. And we have a bit of storage this side, both sides actually, but they're really handy just to chuck bags, picnic lunch can all go in there. You've also got access to the back of the helm, and you've got the 12 volt DC switching here as well, all very easy to access. But you also have a gate down here, so you can fully you also have a gate down here. So with this closed, it's got a catch that comes across, and this closed, you have got excellent protection from the breeze. And that is what really attracted us to this boat. We wanted to have nice protection when we're on anchor, because obviously you've got the breeze barreling over the bow when you're on anchor, and here when you're lying down here, also these turn all the way around. There's a table that slots down there. Again, we'll show all of that when it's up. But it's sociable, and because it's lower than the windscreen and you've got all of this closed off, it should be really nice and sheltered if it's a windier day. And because you don't need side decks, because you can walk straight through the middle of the boat, it means you get more room in the cockpit. Open this up again. The engineering is really solid. Just love this hinge. It's really nicely done. So this here in the bow rider section is just seating. It's nice that it's set quite low. You've got reasonably high freeboard for a boat of this length, so you don't feel too perched. It doesn't feel like it's going to stuff its bow, but it's too low and vulnerable. You've got seating here, you can put cushions down here, but also really good storage. It's all nicely smooth and flow coated. It's on gas rams. You've got runoffs here for water, really good chunky catches, and these are all nicely lined as well. That's the table leg, and you can either put it in there or you can put it back in the cockpit, so you can set up the table at either end of the boat. And this pulls out, it's just velcro, so that you can get skis and longer items in those lockers, but you can also compartmentalize it as well. And up here is your anchor locker. Get the anchor stowed in there, and this is quite a Scandinavian touch, the fact that you can just step off the bow. So the way they use these boats, they go out to the islands or the beaches, they just stick the bow on. Again, while the aluminium hull is good, it's a bit tougher, less susceptible to damage than the fiberglass one. You can step off the bow using these and you're away. And here you've got your nav lights, port and starboard. Should point out as well, there's a bit more storage under here. This is where the lines are kept. They're all lashed up and tied on these hooks here. So there you go, that's the tour. There's a bit of functionality that I haven't been able to show that I'll show later on when we get it set up, but nothing left to do now but get them in the water and get it fired up.
One there. You go there, Reg.
Yeah, you got to go in the hot seat.
Cranky. I can see guys.
Really nice and protected, isn't it?
Yeah.
Feel much breeze there. Bit of berthing practice. And as launch days go, we have gotten very lucky. That's so comfortable, isn't it? that's that 28 knots. Can't actually see the fuel burn at the moment, but that feels like a really good cruising speed. The engine sounds quite raughty at the start, but smooths off really nicely once you get up to speed. And these two positions here, it's so comfortable for covering distances because you're so well protected. You talk to each other, you can hear the radio. You know, for two people to cruise quickly, it feels really good.
I reckon that's a training boat.
It is, yeah. Perfect little shakedown to get used to how she runs. Very different experience to being on the Geno because you sit so low, you sit in these seats, you don't really stand to drive, you just have to trust that the seats will absorb the shock, and the hull is so sharp and so smooth riding. We're heading into Poole Quay now. We do a bit of berthing practice, manoeuvring practice. A really good thing to do with the new boat is get used to it in easy conditions and learn how it moves around the marina, so we're going to do that, and then I think it'll be time for a bit of lunch.
We're just outside at the moment. Could we come in and tie up for an hour or so for lunch? Over.
Negative, so I'm afraid we are still closed to visitors until the 12th of April at the earliest.
Oh. No.
What? Oh, why is that then?
12th of April. Scratch that plan. Marinas are still closed. Case.
Oh yeah.
Abseil down the side, yeah.
Wow.
Look, I can see Coltado in the reflection.
Yeah.
Well, restrictions have eased in the UK. Coronavirus restrictions have just eased, but not to the extent that marinas can open. So that pays to that plan. So we're here alongside Poole Quay. You can get a really good idea of the deck layout now. You can see it from above. You can just see how sunken down that seating is, so it's really nice and protected. As I said, that is what we're going for. It's a nice and easy boat to manoeuvre. It hasn't got a bow thruster, but because you've got power steering, really light throttling in and out of gear, it's very easy to swing the outboard from side to side and manoeuvre it. You know, there's a bit of windage on the bow because it's light. It's something like 1.5 tons all up, so you just have to watch the bow, but it's very manoeuvrable. So that's it in sunpad mode. You literally just flip the front forward and the backrest becomes the stand here, and then there's infill cushions that go down both sides, so it goes right out to the side, and there you have it, two-person sunpad. But the point is, you're set really far down, you know, you're really well protected by the windscreen, so when you're lying down, this is what matters.
Good thing is you don't have to get cushions out of lockers.
No, it's really quick and easy, isn't it? Does that
good.
pass muster?
Yeah.
Good.
It does.
That is quite comfortable. We wouldn't need pillows, wouldn't we?
You did more need. Well, you could use those cushions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need something for your head, a bit
Yeah.
slabby.
But you definitely use that over, you know, what we had on Kipper. You'd never go and lie up front, really, would you?
No.
Because even if it's windy, if you close this, you know,
Yeah.
you've got no wind funneling through. So it should be really sheltered.
Really good. Yeah, you don't. I mean, you're getting fussy now, aren't you?
A couple of towels, you'll be grand. Yeah, that comes forward. Yeah, I got it. And then you flip the whole thing, but you're probably best to do that from down here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do.
Shall I do
Just
that?
you put the Velcro back, yeah.
Oh, there, yeah, okay. So Velcro goes
Back there.
along there.
And then I'll...
And then do I just...
Yeah.
Just see if I can do it.
Okay.
You will. You
What-
would never be on it anyway. Try it.
I think the best place to hold is grab under there and also that.
So you have to flip it.
Yeah. then it's just stop it because it doesn't.
Okay.
No.
It will slam home.
Yeah.
So
So you need to have somebody.
that's it. That's pretty easy, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then
It is heavy.
those bits flap out to protect the side decks.
Yeah.
Complications of this.
There's a little pull pin. There you go. Oh, nice.
Very neat.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
To protect the side decks, what do you mean?
Well, actually, sorry, you put the cushions in there,
Really?
yeah.
You can go to there. Jack.
and then there's cushions that fill in there, so it becomes an even wider seat.
So you can
So
have-
people can tuck right in the
Oh,
corner.
Yeah.
I see.
But also, it just means that you've got something to stop, say, a toddler
Yeah.
getting up onto
Yeah.
there. And,
So it goes to there.
Have you got the cushions for that?
yeah, they're underneath. Yeah.
In the back.
Oh.
But you probably want them this way most of the time, don't you? So that you can get
Yeah.
on and off the decks.
Yeah.
That's.
You do spread salt on you.
Yeah. Well.
Off we go. Pool is where they now build the RNLI lifeboats, and this is the training vessel they've got here. But yeah, they build the lifeboats here now, and the lifeboat college is just down the river that way, the other side of the bridge past Sunseeker. This is the Twin Sails Bridge here in Poole. Well, this is a big exclusive for you. This is the new Sunseeker 90 Ocean. The first of a brand new range for Sunseeker with a real focus on the beach club. New styling. Looks really different. I think it looks great. First time I've seen it on the water. That's a really good looking boat. And you can see it's all about the beach club. Yeah, rows and rows of Sunseekers all ready for testing, PDIing, finishing and shipping off to waiting customers.
They're all sold.
Yeah, this is all at the point where they're off for sale. They might be stock boats for dealers,
Yeah.
but most of those will be sold at the moment as well. And this is the lifeboat college, so this is where you can train. Then you have the lifeboat centre here where they build them. There's a hotel here. They've got the pool here where the crew will train for emergency procedures. They flip the boats in here, flip the ribs in the pool. It's an amazing, amazing facility. You don't want to see one of those in vain, but what a sight when you do if you're in trouble. You've got the whole selection of the RNLI fleet here. Shannon classes. I think there's a 7 up there on the hard. Got some Atlantic ribs. You've got the D class here. Lifeboat heaven. So first impressions of the XO are good then?
Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think it'll make a difference to what you do?
Yeah,
Yeah, we
definitely.
go further afield.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be worried about taking it down to the Isle of Wight.
Yeah.
No.
And a bit
Down to-
faster.
Yeah.
Yes.
You go out.
Yeah.
And also, leisure-wise, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
That was the thing about the Catamaran. It wasn't great for lounging about on.
No.
It was alright for paddleboarding from.
Yeah. But you soon got uncomfortable, didn't you, after a
Yeah.
while lying on the deck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, well. Good timing as well. We'll have a summer of this weather, we'll be laughing.
Yeah.
Nice having all that kit in the cabin.
It really is. I mean, this stuff is amazing. This is a really good generation of Raymarine stuff because it's really clear, really easy to use, and you can touch screen it, but it's also got the dial. And then, if you have just chart,
Just fits in there. So if they've got one that size,
yeah, exactly, yeah. But if it's just chart, it's huge, isn't it? It's a
Yeah.
really good size.
brilliant.
But I think this would be your best screen. It's got fish finder as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Just the zoom stick.
yeah. I've got your course over ground vector on as well, so you can see where you go. That's great. We've also got a new mooring for this boat. We used to keep the boat on a private swing mooring, but Sandbanks Yacht Company have what they call valley moorings, where you have a swing mooring, so the boat's out on a buoy, but they will bring it alongside their pontoon before you use it, so you don't have to mess about getting in and out of a tender, rowing out to the boat's alongside, you get up and go. So it's sort of like the marina experience, but for the cost of the swing mooring. And yeah, it's the first time we've done it, and we just thought if we're going to get the most out of the boat, it needs to be as easy to use as possible. So we've gone for it, and you know, it's a nice location. It's up here right next to where we used to keep the boat. You know, pretty close to the mouth of the harbour, so you can get out to sea quickly. And yeah, looking forward to seeing how it works this summer, but it certainly seems a pretty good setup. They've got all these swing moorings here, are all there, so you just pick up the buoy and leave the boat swinging. So there she is out there, new home on the swing mooring, and we've got this ribcraft here that they run you in and out from this pontoon. But if you ring them in the summer ahead of time, say you want to go out, they bring the boat along here, you step on and off you go. And they'll even, when you bring it back, you can just step off, they'll take it out to the buoy, they'll put the cover on, hose it down, even refuel it for you. And yeah, you don't have to worry about rowing in and out or jumping in a tender to get to the boat. You just go on the rib and it's all sorted. So it seemed a really convenient setup. There's a cafe and a restaurant up there, they've got some hard standing, they'll put it on a stand for you so you can anti-foul it. And you know, it's this lovely position here just inside the mouth of Poole Harbour. Well, they've got a good selection of boats here. Cobra Ribs.
He's on my own as well.
Yeah. Axopar here. Lovely old Sunseeker. Sunseeker Mustang, look at that. See the scale of what we've just been by up in the quay, what they used to build. That's a wonderful little thing. But this is the slipway here, so you can run the boats in and out of the water on the tractor. And then you've just got hard standing. Yeah, as shakedown cruises go, you can ask for much more really. Sparkling weather, and we'll hope for a lot more weather like this this summer, so that we can really get some enjoyment out of it. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.